Hello again. My last video was a little clumsy, a little untidy, so I've decided to venture again because I think what I'm on about with the meditation and the stress is something that we could all require nowadays, because we've got a lot of dramas in our life, a lot of things that we have to deal with. But there's a lot of misconceptions about stress, so I thought I'd take a moment or two to do something that I generally don't like doing, and that is to consider the theory of some of the physiological aspects of stress and meditation, because there is a lot of nonsense about it all. And what I'd like to do now is just try and give a lay person's interpretation of some of these things. A lot of people say that things cause stress, but really that's not so. We all have dramas in our life, whether they're family problems or financial problems or whatever. These things don't cause stress. If our mind is strong and coping, it'll deal with these things all right. But when we find it difficult to cope with them, then the mind becomes overwhelmed, then we become stressed, and then the problems come into play. And you name it, whatever the problem is, it generally has some connection with stress somewhere along the line. We all have one demon that inhibits our ability to cope, and that's this thing of anxiety. I did a seminar in recent times with some doctors in Adelaide. It's good they listen to me, isn't it? And when I said that anxiety causes our problems, one of them called out from the auditorium, "You define anxiety." And I said, "It's a feeling that something's out of whack, sir." And he said, "Well, I didn't read that in my medical journal, but it's a feeling that we're just not in harmony with things." We've all got it. Sometimes we call it depression nowadays. We get those titles mixed up a little bit. But no one's to be blamed for it, really. This feeling that we're out of sync or we're not within the rhythm of things, this feeling of anxiety. We all experience it in varying degrees along the way. It's born of three things: hurts, fears, and guilts. Now the hurts, they go way, way back in time. In fact, I'd go as far as to say they're there even before we were born, but I won't go into that now. But we all get wounded along the way, the loss of someone close, a bit of a financial upheaval, or get the sack at work, you name it. And that happens all through our lives, and unbeknownst to us, those hurts are hidden back in little recesses of our mind. We don't even know they're there, but they inhibit our ability to cope with things. The other thing are fears, and we all have fears. I can remember years ago I was a little bit phobic, and those fears also are hidden back in our mind, and they cause us to brace ourselves because we don't want to get hurt again, or we don't want to be fearful. And when you're like that, you're not going to sleep or you're going to get blood pressure. So do you see where the problems come into play? And then when we have all those things combined, then the problems come into play. So, okay, there's these psychosomatic problems. I don't know what that means, but I just thought it might impress you. That's mixed up with our headaches for some, or worse still, migraine, or can't sleep. That's very common. Panic, that's very common nowadays. So these things start to happen. But then a very strange group of problems come into play. We try to flee from this discomfort. So some of us get on the booze, we start to drink too much. Some of us eat too much, so we knock off 200 donuts and then we get obese, and that worries us. So it's a cyclic sort of thing. Some of us start to blame others. Some of us become very obsessive with the perfection of things. And then another group of problems come into play. We try to flee from this discomfort, and then all those things combined we're just travelling second class. I could keep going on and on. Now, on that first tape I gave you, or that I did, I had the little practice of the meditation, which was a little bit clumsy, but if you're doing it properly, you're not watching me anyway. That's why it's a very strange video, because you don't watch it while you're doing the practice. But that will at least sow a little bit of a seed. And the reason why we're doing it, there's a lot of nonsense also about meditation. You know, people are focusing on little red dots and waterfalls. I can't see the colour purple. Listening to dolphin music, those things will stress you out more than anything. I've probably upset half of you already, but probably understood meditation is a time when we let, and that's the key to it, or we allow the mind to just rest from its critical mode. So even as I talk to you now, your mind's still working critically. Is he right? Is he wrong? You know, where did they get him from? It's doing all those sorts of things. Or when you're on your little iPad, you don't realise it, but day in, night out, 24/7, the mind's just working non-stop. And the mind just gets, it's just burnt out. It's worked too much. Sleep's very good for us, but half us can't sleep. So the meditation, this way that I'm going to show you, it's different to all other ways. I won't go into that now, but it's suffice to say it's a time when we let the mind rest from its critical mode. When it has a rest from finance or romance or bringing up children or next door neighbours or the virus, it's just going to have a little repose just for 8 or 9 minutes. That's all, just each day. It's not an each way bet. You either do it or give me the flick, but you need to do it every day. So say for me, 45 years later, it's just like having a shower. I just go and do it. It's just a part of the rhythm of things. There's no discipline to it. But these first few weeks, your mind will try every trick it can to avoid what I'm on about. And that's the way of anxiety. It's too simple. He doesn't know what he's on about. I know a different way. It'll try every little, when it gets that absolutely brilliant, it doesn't offer any excuse. It just doesn't do it. But if you can just make an easy commitment to it, hang in with it, and even after a few weeks, you can expect to feel a little bit better about things. Sleep might be a little bit deeper, or fear might be a bit less pronounced. And if you can hang in way up the track, there's a deeper wisdom to it that I can't explain, except to say that you'll become the physician. I'm not teaching anything here. I'm just showing you a way. You hang in with it. You'll be the doctor. You'll be the counsellor. You'll know when it's time to do this or that. It won't be the government or someone else telling you. So don't miss what I think is a chance. That's enough of the theory, because the essence is in that little bit of practice that I did on that first video. So hopefully you haven't deleted that. And that'll just give you a little bit of an idea of the way of it all. Don't try and be good at it. If you do that, you'll stress yourself out. Or don't try and attain anything. Just allow the mind into this state of rest, or this state of repose. And it's in this time, in this very unique way of meditation, that those hidden things that I talked about, the hurts and the fears, they seem to dissipate. I know that from my own experience, because that phobic that I talked about just before, I no longer have that, not to any great degree anyway. And that's not through any counselling or analysing anything or whatever. It's just from doing this meditation. I won't go into the depth of what is happening there, but just go along with me that what we're doing, there is quite a wisdom to it, despite the simplicity of it all. Take care.